Hey guys, welcome back to TCAM Sports Podcast. I'm your host Cameron Tracewell. How y'all doing, man? College football's on the way. Sports, the Olympics are here. Lots of things are going on. MLS is big. NHL ended finally. The NBA is finally over. Boston Celtics win, right? Florida Panthers win. Connor McDavid almost had a comeback. A lot of crazy stuff going on in sports. The Olympics are here. Everybody's excited. Team USA basketball. Bronny James getting drafted to the Lakers. We're seeing him in summer league. But as all these other sports, how great they are to watch, nothing's better than football. Nothing's better than football. And college football, it's on its way now. Everybody's excited about college football. The expansion to the college football playoff. Now we got a 12 team. Some people wish we had a 16 team. I mean, listen, people are excited about the college football playoff this year. What's going to happen? More opportunity, more chances for everybody else. Also, teams joining more conferences. Now you got Texas and Oklahoma moving to the SEC. You got Arizona State, Arizona, and more other teams coming to the Big 12. You got UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington officially in the Big 10. Florida State, Clemson trying to get out of the ACC. Listen, this is getting exciting. This is getting thrilling, and I'm absolutely excited for college football. However, today we are going to talk about the top 12 teams after the spring games. These are the rankings after the spring games. Not official rankings, just rankings after the spring games. A little bit of an update. By the way, before I jump into that, have you guys played the college football game? EA's college football game? First time after 11 years? This game's phenomenal. This game's absolutely phenomenal. I've loved and enjoyed every single bit of it. The detail, the art, the work, the years of hard work they put into creating this game, the 134 FBS schools that are in it, the gameplay, the feeling, the excitement it brings for college football, for me and people that love video games and people that used to play this game growing up, right? Played it. I remember, the game with Tim Tebow on the cover. I remember all the crazy moments, the road to glory, the dynasty, to playing against your friends. It was so much fun. Now to have it back and to be able to play it and to be able to play as my university, West Virginia University, listen, it just brings the hype and the thrill to college football, and I'm excited that college football is coming, and I'm excited we're almost there. However, we got to get into these rankings. We got to start talking because some teams, after the spring update, I think should be higher, and some teams should be lower. So we're going to start with 12 and down because 12 and 11, I think, should be mentioned because they're important teams, important factors for this season, and I think that we need to talk about them. So, starting in at number 12, we got Penn State, the Nittany Lions, man. The Nittany Lions got to play my West Virginia Mountaineers as their opening game. Drew Allar, Singleton, Allen, Warren, this team, James Franklin. Listen, no more Michigan. Well, we got Michigan, but no more Harbaugh, right? No more championship team. Ohio State, get down to them later. Oregon, get to them later. James Franklin, you got a lot to prove, man. I love James Franklin. I think he's a great coach, and I think any coach that that can win 9-10 games every single year deserves their job. But when the expectations for a Penn State, a great dominant college football school, eventually, listen, it's not the big deal that I have that you win 9-10 games. It's the fact that every single year you lose to Ohio State. Every single year you lose to Michigan. I don't care if you, for his job specifically, if he wins the national championship. I don't care if he wins the conference. If he beats Ohio State or Michigan once every single year, one or the other every single year, listen, that's an accomplishment. Those are two of the most pristine schools in the Big Ten. So I understand that it can be complicated to beat them. You can't lose to both of them every single year. And so, for right now, this team's ultra-talented. We know that. They have a lot to prove. So, to me, Drew Allar, Nicholas Singleton, James Franklin, got to get it done. We have got to get it done. So, number 12, I expect them to be in the top 6. At least I expect them to get to the top 6. Now, number 11, Florida State Seminoles. Getting the transfer from Oregon State, DJ, I can't pronounce his last name, and I'm not going to butcher it here on this. I'm not butchering his last name. Getting the transfer Benson from Alabama, right? This team is coming off a great and amazing season. Lost a lot of their talent due to the NFL. Jordan Travis is gone. Johnny Wilson's out. Keon Coleman in the offense. We're going to see a new start from Mike Norvell and this offense. Number 11, I think, is a fair spot. Do I expect him to remain there? Honestly, I don't. Do I expect them to be a bad team? No, I don't expect them to be a bad team, but I don't expect them to be the team that they were last year. So, not high expectations for Florida State this year. It's going to be an average season for them. I'm hoping it'll be a good season, though. I know DJ is no slouch. I know he's a good quarterback. I just need to see what the rest of the crew's going to bring, right? Just because they have DJ doesn't mean the rest of the team's going to be great. So, hopefully, I can see a ultra talented team this year. I'm not saying Florida State's going to be a bad team. I just need to see. I need to see them first, right? I need to see what they're going to do. Now, to number 10, Michigan. The only reason that Michigan is really at number 10 is because they won the college football playoff. They won the national championship last year. They were incredible. Jim Harbaugh, J.J. McCarthy. They have Donovan Edwards now. They have a pretty decent roster. They're going to have one of the best corners in the country. Listen, this team is no team to slouch on. Here's what I have to say about Michigan overall. They're at number 10 because they won the national championship. They going to remain at number 10? Probably not. I expect Penn State to be ahead of them. Really, I do. Penn State better be ahead of them in this season. It's going to be a down year for Michigan. Obviously, he's coming off a championship. They just lost a lot of their players, so I don't expect Michigan to be, all that great. Maybe they can have an average season. I don't know who they're playing at quarterback. I don't know if he's any good. With the Harbaugh offense still being there, they could produce something. But I'm not, strung up on Michigan being a top 5 team this year. Or maybe not even a top 10 team. They might be. They could probably hit between like 10 and 15, maybe. Michigan, they're going to have some talent, but not seeing them competing for the college football playoff. I would be highly surprised. So, Michigan, number 10, because they won that championship. Just a good thing to do. Utah is coming in number 9. Quarterback Cam Rising coming back. Utah was great defensively last year. They lacked their offense. The prior to the year that they won the Pac-12 championship, they had a great defense and offense. Last year, their offense was none of existence. They didn't have a great offense last year in the Pac-12. They had a great defense. If they have the same defense and they get some offense talent coming to play with Cameron Rising, they are going to be a great team. Utah, number 9, they could surprise some people, especially, I think, if I'm positive, joining the Big 12. So, Utah, defensively, listen, the Big 12's always been about air raid. It's always been about fast offense. It's always been about who could score the most points, right? I've always said, the first team that brings some legitimate defense into this conference is going to be hard to beat. Utah could be that team now. Now, I think the Big 12 is changing a little bit overall than what it used to be, but still, I think there's a lot of teams that have that same mentality. And if Utah brings a little bit of defense with more offense, right, they're going to be a good team. Are they top 10? I don't know. I got to see them play. Like I said, some of these teams, I just got to see them play. I don't know how I feel about them, and I don't know if they're worthy of being top 10. There's going to be a lot of decent teams in the Big 12. West Virginia is one of them. I think Colorado's on nobody to sleep on. Arizona's going to have a good offense this year. There's going to be a pretty considerable amount of teams in the Big 12. There is every single year. Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State, every single year. They're always in there. So, listen, Utah, I expect them to be pretty good. If they have that same defense and that offense, I just don't know if number 9 is their spot. I'm not sure if number 9 is their spot, and maybe they're better than number 8, or maybe they're worse than Michigan. So let's see what Utah can bring to the table. Let's see what they can do. I want to see in their first couple games what they bring to the table. Which falls into number 8, Missouri, Brady Cook. Brady Cook was special last year. I enjoyed watching Missouri last year. Missouri, I've been waiting on them to finally eclipse in the college football, world, right? Missouri is like on and off school all the time. Sometimes, 1 year they're normally on, and then they're off for a while, then they're back on, then they're off. Better than Vanderbilt, but not really. Listen, Brady Cook, I think, is a good quarterback. I think he is highly slept on. I don't think people pay attention to him as much as they should. But here's the problem. Missouri is in a tough conference, right? They're in the Southeastern Conference. So, like I said, you got Georgia. You've got Kentucky. You've got Alabama. You've got Texas A&M. You've got Texas. You've got Oklahoma. Listen, there's a lot of teams that are going to be ranked. And while I think Missouri has a fair shot, to make some noise, I don't see them beating teams like Georgia. I don't see them beating teams like Alabama. I don't see them beating teams like Texas. Maybe they could compete with like an Oklahoma, right? Because losing Dylan Gabriel, right? They're going in as a ranked seed. I don't know who their quarterback is. I don't know if he's any good. So, listen, I don't know what they can do against a highly ranked opponent. But I do believe in Brady Cook, and I do think he's underrated. Let's see the rest of the team develop around him, and then we can make our assessment. Some of these teams that I'm talking about, I know that I'm like, hey, I don't know, right? I don't know. I remember what they played. I know they've added people on. I know they added people through the NIL. However, we all know what a Georgia's going to be like. We all know what an Alabama. We all know what Texas is really going to be like this year. Texas is going to be just as good. I don't know what an Oklahoma is going to be like this year, though. I don't know how they're going to play. Kentucky, right? They didn't have Will Levis last year. They didn't have a good quarterback situation last year. They always have a run, and they always have a defense. So they're going to have a quarterback this year, right? South Carolina, no Spencer Rattler. It's a toss-up. Brady Cook, though, Missouri could make some noise. I just don't know how they will fend off against the bigger SEC opponents, the ones we always know. So they are at number 8, and I'm hoping that Brady Cook and them do well. I just don't know if they're – I don't know what they're going to be made of when it comes to the big moment. So we need to see. That's just something we got to see, right? Coming in at number 7, Alabama, Jalen Milroe returning, Kalen DeBoer, Nick Saban departure, got Justin Hayes, lost. I lost his name. Sorry, lost our free safety, Caleb Downs. Sorry, lost Caleb Downs. Disappointed. I love Caleb Downs. Listen, for Alabama, this is going to be a great year for Jalen Milroe. Kalen DeBoer took Washington to the national championship. Look at the team he had with Michael Penix, Romeo Odunze, and those guys. Look at that offense. Look how great they were. Alabama, offensively, for Jalen Milroe, is probably going to be his best year. I expect big things from him. Do I expect Alabama to be the same reigning, terror? No. Nick Saban is just built different, and we all know that. Just like Kirby Smart right now, built different. Built by Bama, Alabama. They have a talented team. I hope they keep that same mentality, right? Defensively, I think they might lack. I don't think they're going to be as defensively as good as they are with Nick Saban. However, offensively, I expect this team to explode, and I'm excited to see it. I need to see what Jalen Milroe can do. I know he can run. I know he can pass, but can he elevate himself from where he was last year, right, to Michael Penix's level? I'd love to see the elevation to a Michael Penix, right? That's just me. I'd love to be able to see that from him, and I want to see what happens there. So that is just my overall perspective on Alabama. They'll be good offensively. I'm not sure about defense. They're not going to be the same defensive team that we remember. So Alabama, I expect them to be offensively better. Another team I expect to be offensively better, about Ole Miss, about Lane Kiffin now. Lane Kiffin. About Jackson Dart. We expect something from Jackson Dart. Listen, Ole Miss, now that Nick Saban is gone, a lot of teams have some expectations, and this is one of them right here. Lane Kiffin is offensively one of the best in the country, and I hope we get to see a Steve Sarkisian versus Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss versus Texas. The two guys who won national championships as the OCs at Alabama, Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian. Head-to-head offense. Lane Kiffin has an elite offense, but he lacks defense. Steve Sarkisian, good offense, pretty okay. They were okay at defense in the beginning of last year. Lacked off at the end. Ole Miss has a lot to expectations for the West. A lot of people are expecting them to make the SEC championship game. I'm not going that far to put them there yet. Love Lane Kiffin, love his offense. Defensively, though, can't ever stop anybody. Has to always be a shootout. And when they played one team with good defense in Alabama last year, they got blitzed. So I'm not their biggest fan when they go to play against a good defense and they don't have a good defense themselves. But Lane Kiffin is expected to have a better year. The university's expecting a bigger year out of Lane Kiffin. So Ole Miss should have a better year. I'm not getting on board until I see them play a good defense and play well against a good defense, and they can actually produce some defense themselves. Jackson Dart, though, probably have a great year. Every quarterback that's underneath Lane Kiffin normally has a decent year. That is the number 6. Number 5. Now listen, this is where it gets debatable. This is where I could put probably 6 and 7, possibly 8 above this team. I'm not, if you know me, I'm not the biggest fan of Notre Dame because they're independent. Because they don't play in a conference. And when they do play in a conference, it's the ACC, and that's normally when they're weak. That's for their own best benefit, too. I like the addition of Riley Leonard, right? I like Collins coming from Clemson. I like Mitchell from Florida International. I like the additions that they added. This is what they needed to add. Riley Leonard was good at Duke. He had injury problems. He could run the ball, right? But he put Duke on a good map last year, and that's what they needed. Now joining Notre Dame. Notre Dame's a different ball game. Why they get ranked so high when they don't play great competition is beyond me. Do I think they deserve a ranking over Alabama right where they're at right now? No. No, I don't care who they have. No. Do I think they deserve ranking over Ole Miss? No. No, I don't. No, I just don't. Like, yeah, they probably have better defense than Ole Miss, but their offense is not going to be better than Ole Miss. I could go over Brady Cook in Missouri, sure. That's fine. I'm going to be honest with you. I probably wouldn't put Notre Dame over the Nittany Lions. You could give me Penn State, put them at number 5. There's no way I'm taking... There's no way in any justification. I don't care. There's no way I'm taking Notre Dame over Penn State. No, I'm not. I'm not doing it. I'm not taking them over Alabama. And I'm on the fence with Ole Miss, but I'll take Ole Miss over them. And I'm not. And I repeat, I would not take them over Penn State. I will put them right next to Missouri. Sure, that's a fair trade for me. That's fair. Because we don't know what Riley Leonard's going to do with Notre Dame. So, listen, Notre Dame, it's not a conversation me getting into because it's just, you can see how I feel about it. They're not better than Penn State. Don't know why they're getting ranked so high. I understand you got Riley Leonard. That's great. Congratulations. Notre Dame, we expect big things from you. Are you going to perform? Are you going to be better than what everybody thinks? Are you going to be a top 5 team? Right? Are you deserving of top 5? Because you're not better than Penn State to me. You're just not. You're not better than Penn State. You're not better than Bama. So, I mean, I'm not putting you over either one of those teams. That's just me, but okay. Whatever. And number 4, Oregon Ducks. This is now we're getting top 4, so this is going to be a fair assessment here. This is my number 3. This is some people's number 4. This is my number 3. I love the addition from Dillon Gabriel from Oklahoma. Dan Lanning, still there. This team didn't lose a lot of people. They're coming back. They got a lot of talent. Listen, Oregon is going to be pushing this year. They're going to be the number 1 team in the West, of the Big Ten. I don't see anybody that can stop them. I think they're the only team right now in the Big Ten that's going to challenge Ohio State. Like, Penn State could do it, but I got to see Penn State try to do it. Because normally Penn State can't get it done. So Oregon, I think Oregon's probably the best potential, at least in the Western side. I think they're going to win the West. I think Nebraska's on their way up. I think they're an underdog. I think people need to pay attention to Nebraska and what's going on there with Matt Rule. Pay attention. They're going to be a pretty decent team. We got to wait on them. I think they have about 2 or 3 more years, but I think they're on the way. Oregon, right now, top of their peak, flew out Bo Nix, put in Dillon Gabriel. This is my number 3 team. I flip-flop my 3 and 4. This is ESPN's 4. This would be my 3. Dillon Gabriel and this team is good enough to be the number 3, and I think they're going to be really special. And I think If I had to say my Big Ten championship game right here, right now, it's Ohio State and Oregon. That's right now early. That's way too early prediction. Could be completely wrong on both sides, but that would be my early prediction. Oregon is ultra talented. I think they can win the West. Number 3 is ESPN is Texas. So I got Oregon at number 3, Texas at 4. Texas has a great team, like I said earlier, with Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, Quinn Ewers, right? No Adonai Mitchell, Isaiah Bond coming from Alabama. This team is going to be talented. They're going to be good. However, they went into the college football playoff at number 3, and they lost to Washington. Washington was the better team, but I don't think the number 3 team that loses just automatically gets to be the number 3 team, right? I just don't think that happens. Listen, Texas, we expect, like I said, we expect big things, right? They should have performed better last year. They should have probably been in the national championship game last year against Michigan. They blew it. So there's a lot of expectations, especially with Quinn Ewers returning. There's a lot of expectations on this team. I would put them at number 4 right now for me because I think Oregon has better. Oregon's just better off. I think right now. I think that they are pretty much could be a guarantee to win the West in the Big Ten. Where Texas, they got a long road ahead of them, a lot of challenging teams to face. So Texas right now, until they can prove that they can be dominant in the SEC or have it dominant or start the season dominate, I can't put them over Oregon right now. And then number two, Ohio State. Ryan Day. No more Jim Harbaugh now. You've lost 3 straight games to Michigan. You can't lose to Michigan again. You lose to Michigan, you're fired. They'll fire you. You're done. You're done on the spot. You will make the college football playoff. You got Ibuka back. You added Will Howard, right? Caleb Downs coming from Alabama. Listen, this team is going to have the best. Is going to have one of the best defensive teams in the country. Probably have one of the best corner teams in the country. Their corners are going to be insane. They have a good receiving core. Will Howard's definitely an upgrade from Kyle McCord. He's in Syracuse now. So Will Howard from Kansas State, big upgrade now. This team is going to be good. They're going to be great. A lot of expectations on Ohio State. I'll be honest with you. I expect them to be top 3 all season. Probably be in the national championship. I know that's way too early and I shouldn't say that. But that looks like his expectations for Ryan Day. Either make the national championship or win the national championship, keep your job. I mean, that's just how it looks. Especially if you lose to Michigan, you're done. So, I mean, Ohio State, high expectations this year for them. To be at least in the top 3 or possibly the national championship, which follows my number 1 at Georgia. Kirby Smart, he is the best coach in college football. Carson Beck might not be the best quarterback, but he's going to be great this year. This team was the number 1 team last year all year. They lost to Alabama in the SEC championship game. Never before has a number 1 team dropped to number 5 and been out. Never has it ever happened. And since college football playoff was created. I think Georgia is coming with vengeance this year. I think Georgia is looking to win a national championship this year. I think this is the only team that actually probably could stop Ohio State right now. Georgia, I think they are the big dogs. I think this is the team everybody needs to be paying attention to. And for me, they are the best team in college football. So they deserve number 1. There's no debate about it. Georgia's best team. Ohio State's the second best team. Overall, pretty good. They nailed some. Like I said, I think Oregon, Texas, you can flip. I think Notre Dame got to be way back there for me. They're not in to me. They're probably like 7, probably 8, and Missouri at 9, and then Penn State I would put up at 5. But it's just me. I think this is a pretty good list, though. Listen, college football's coming. Excited. West Virginia Mountaineers. Can't wait to talk about it. Penn State. Let's go. Let's go. Garrett Green, Neil Brown. You can bring something special this year. Got to see that offense. Need better defense. College football's coming. I'm excited. Can't wait to get into it. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Till next time. See you guys later.